Hello, this is John Gill.
Hello.
John is here with me today because we're talking about the future of the office. And John has been my landlord ever since I left corporate, now over 7 years ago. When I was less grey, he was the same. Just as good looking as he now is. We're talking today about the future of the office, kind of where we're at right now, and a little bit more later on about what we think is coming. John, why are we talking about this right now?
Because we're at the time when no one knows really what the future is going to be. We've been in lockdown for the last 6-7 months. No one's been in the office. We're now returning to the office with a new paradigm, and people are experimenting with it.
Yeah. I mean, this is fascinating for me because, the business that I co-founded 5 years ago, the formation of that coincided with my family deciding to leave Sydney. And, I was commuting back in here, as you know, a couple of days a week to have FaceTime meetings, sometimes in here, sometimes out and about on client sites and so forth. And then very much working in this now known as hybrid model with a team of people around Australia and in the US. But to answer one of the questions that we were discussing earlier, always very much needing and recognizing the benefit of this kind of interaction.
Yes. And also with your team. And so firms who have teams, they need that social cohesion, that social culture. You can't get that with everyone living in their bedroom. So there are two reasons why people have an office space. One, it's a sort of billboard of I'm real, I'm important, look at my office.
Look at my view.
Look at my view. And you were able to do that through the Co10 model.
Absolutely.
Whilst living 2.5 hours away.
Absolutely.
And I thank you for not moving your office to your bedroom, but maintaining the corporate presence here.
Yeah.
People use the office space for staff interaction, for staff culture, but also learning. And that, as you mentioned, why use it, that face-to-face presence for sales and sales delivery.
Yeah. So this is it. So we use this space for learning, right? Like we run training programs, we run workshops. That's why I'm back in here today. And for those sort of privileged interactions, in a private space that you potentially don't want to have in a cafe, in someone's bedroom, or in your open plan office environment. So a coaching conversation or an uncomfortable conversation or a strategic planning conversation or something like that.
Yeah. And the other thing I would look at is those unplanned learning opportunities. Thinking about a law firm or something like that, where you actually learn a lot through osmosis. How do I structure this? How do I do that? And you can't phone up your boss on Zoom every 20 seconds to say, and how do I do this?
Yeah.
If you want that environment, you need to have people gathered together.
Yeah. So what we're seeing at the moment, the where we're at right now is, as you say, people are experimenting. Yeah. There's some data that we're going to unpack a little bit more in a secondary video here about this interesting anticipated trend around people actually working in a physical place Tuesday through Thursday, and then potentially working in their own space or a virtual space primarily, and kind of elongating the time at home either side of the weekend, which I think might be a really interesting way of having some kind of orthodoxy without total spontaneity. But I also wanted to touch on, I think, this is a big opportunity. That's certainly the way that we're encouraging our clients to look at it. This is not a binary choice, all in or all out. Right, that there's a real opportunity here to realize the cultural shift, look at kind of proof of concept of Zoom and various other platforms, and then say, well, hang on, is there an opportunity to be adaptive, to have a really great, really productive culture, whilst actually reducing the liability on our balance sheet from a massive long-term tenancy?
And I think what we started off by saying was nobody knew what was happening, no one knew what the future was going to be. But I think we do know to a degree. We know that things have changed. The working from home concept has worked. People have seen some increased productivity. Question remains whether, if that was the methodology ad infinitum, whether that productivity would drop off.
100%.
There is going to be downsizing. there's going to be resizing, there's going to be a new paradigm. So we know the future is different.
Yeah.
Right. We do know that. But we also know it's not going to be completely radicalized. We're not at the work from home forever because people are coming back to the CBD and that our tenants are telling us the benefits and that those who have been missing it. But I think what we will see is far greater flexibility, and it needs to be so to keep, maintain and engage staff.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to rest this stream here. So if anything that you've heard so far about how can I create an abundant, flexible work environment for my team, my staff, my company, get in touch with John. I'll put his contact details in the comments in a minute. If you want to talk about how do we lead and run teams and maintain and optimize productivity in this kind of new environment, then of course you're welcome to come talk to me. And then John and I, in just a couple of moments, are going to relaunch a stream just in my YouTube channel for the time being, and just kind of unpack all of this a lot more, speak to some of the data, speak to some of the comparisons between different work environments, what I'm seeing on the client side, what John is seeing through his tenancies, and really just kind of, again, prove where the opportunities are and how some companies are already realizing those opportunities. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Tim.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah.